Okay, so inshallah we'll start. So, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. SubhanAllah, like 1 month flew by, right? I'm still like thinking, okay, I have time, then what to do, like I'm asking around, but oh, it's there. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. So let's just you all again.
We
MashaAllah.
actually made all the schedule up to November 14th. I kind of that schedule because time just time flies.
Yeah, I know. So, alhamdulillah, so I was, last time when I talked to you and I felt the pulse, and then, one of the sisters was suggesting, okay, let's read a book. And so I was considering that. And then I was also asking, like taking Shura from, the sister that I know and all that. So it was somehow, it occurred to me that we should follow a book. So then I was searching and then somehow, I found this book in the Halaqa.com and all those things, and then I read the review. It's one of the very, very and do you know Yasmin Mijalan? Yeah, also you know, right? And she belongs to Al Maghrib Institute and Al Yaqeen Institute, and she does a lot of research, and she has the YouTube is full of her talks, mashallah, and she's a wonderful speaker. And this book is really, really, it's it's food for your soul. Something like that. Now that I found it very wonderful. So even I wanted to, like we go through it. It really like what the title says, reclaim your heart. It feels like your heart is lost somewhere and you want to reclaim it. You want to get back to your heart. It's really, inshallah, you know what? The way we are going to do is we just, like, we're going to reflect. Inshallah, we take some excerpts from it and we read, but then there's a lot of new stuff. And it is so much relevant to our life. So much relevant. So I will start. And also we can do is, since you have the PDF, then maybe I can ask, to read, so that we participate. So whoever wants to read can read and then we reflect. Then somebody can read, or we can take turns also to read. Okay, inshallah. So that, in that way we make it very interactive. Okay, so to begin with this, look at the dedication. The first bit, it's even before we start the contents, she's dedicating it to the people. This book is dedicated in its entirety to the one who has raised me, even before I was in my mother's womb. It is dedicated to the one who has taught me, inspired me, guided me throughout my life. I dedicate this endeavor to God, and I only pray that in spite of my weakness, it may be accepted. And I dedicate this book to my family who has supported me throughout the journey. That puts us in a perspective, right? Yeah. So it's very interesting. Of course, I'm not read the whole thing because I don't want to. I want to read it along with you guys. So, okay. So the first chapter is why do people have to meet each other? This itself you can. What page are you on? This will be 18. 18. Yeah. 19. So, so what's the question? Why do people have to meet each other? What is it? It is meet each other is, separation, right? The separation can be death, right? Separation can be separation of, like moving away from each other, separation of spouses, separation of so many things, right? It is like which can give you pain to that kind of separation. She's asking, like, why do
My
people,
girls are married.
huh?
My girls are married. That's also giving pain, right? And they leave the parents.
Yeah. So why do people have to meet each other? Basically, why do we have to go through that pain? Basically, that's what is being asked. But she will tell a story. So when I was 17 years old, I had a dream. I dreamt that I was sitting inside a masjid and a little girl walked up to ask me a question. She asked me, why do people have to leave each other? The question was a personal one, but it seemed clear to me why the question was chosen for me. I was one to get attached. Ever since I was, so this person is having a dream, right? In the dream, the girl is asking, why do we have to leave each other, right? So ever since I was a child, this temperament was clear. Why other children in preschool could easily recover once their parents left, I could not. My tears, once set in motion, did not stop easily. As I grew up, I began to become attached to everything around me. From the time I was in first grade, I needed a best friend. As I got older, any follow-up with a friend shattered me. I couldn't let go of anything. People, places, events, photograph moments, even outcomes became objects of strong attachment. If things did the way I wanted or imagined they should, I was devastated. And disappointment for me wasn't an ordinary emotion. I was catastrophic. Once let down, I never fully recovered. I could never forget, and the break never mended. Like a glass vase that you place on the edge of a table. Once broken, the pieces never quite fitted in. Subhanallah. Like we can relate to this, right? Many times. And life teaches us many times, like if you think as we are growing up, we realize that, right? Like we are attached to emotions, we are attached to things, we are attached to people, we are attached. This world can be full of attachments, right? So this is what she's describing. This person was like this, and I think each one of us can relate to it. Maybe we are not now, but we have been, right? Like even I used to be when I was in high school, like I would be just cutting, flowers, cutting, like collecting it. People are collectors. They collect stamps. They collect this. Isn't that people collect what do you call it? The antiques, right? So collection. So this worldly thing. So now we have to now let's see what happens with this, right? As we move along, right? So now to keep this in mind, this phrase like uh like a vase of vegetation. Okay? Now let's see what happens with this. So she said edge of the table, once broken, the pieces never quite fitted in, right? Now, however, the problem wasn't with the vase. It wasn't, or even that the vases kept breaking. That's not that's not the point, right? Because if you keep it at the edge, it's going to fall, right? And if it falls, it's going to break. So what's the problem? You keep keeping it at the edge. That's your problem. So why is it you do that? Why don't we keep it, right? So that's the thing, So probably the problem wasn't the ways or even if it was kept. The problem was that I kept putting them on the edge of things. Through my attachments, I was dependent on my relationship to fulfill my needs. I allowed those relationships to define my happiness or my sadness, my my fulfillment or my emptiness, my security, even my self-worth. And so, like the waste place where it will inevitably fall, right? If you keep it on the edge, it is going to fall. Through those dependencies, I set myself up for disappointment. You see, I'm setting myself up because I am dependent on these materialistic things which are not permanent, which are not, like if you have, if you're depending on relationships, relationships can break. If you're depending on people, people can change. If you can depend on money, money can come and go, right? So why are we attaching ourselves to these? Looking for happiness for these things, right? So that's the question. So now I set myself up to be broken, right? Now, and that exactly what I found. One disappointment, one break after another. You see? Now, yet the people who broke me were not to blame any more than gravity can be blamed for breaking the vase, right? Yeah, right? If you put it on the edge, yeah, and something, a small push, gravity is going to break it. So can we blame the gravity for it? Can we blame the glass for breaking it? No. So I'm setting it up for it to be broken. So this is like, human being. Human being is being on the edge and taking that chance of, just falling and it is going to fall. It is going to break. So you're putting things, like you're setting yourself up for disappointment. No. No, we can't blame the law of physics, right? See, when a twig snaps because we leaned on it for support, you are holding on to a twig and it's going to break. So can you blame the twig? Because the twig was never created to carry this. Not Allah. You see? So that's what it is. So what are you holding on to? That's the question. For your emotions, for your growth, in your life. What are you holding on to? Relationships, worldly things? Because the worldly things are going to change. If they change, you're going to change. Your emotions are going to change. Where's the stability? Where's peace? Where's the dependency? SubhanAllah, right? Now that's what we all have to ask. What am I dependent? Where is my, what is my anchor in this world? Where is my anchor? Right? SubhanAllah. Okay, now the twig was never created to carry us. Now, our way was only meant to be carried by God. SubhanAllah. We are going to get into more detail. We are told in the Quran, now the ayah. Now, whoever rejects evil and believes in God had grasped, whoever rejects all evil and believes in God had grasped the most trustworthy handbook that never breaks. And God hears and knows all the things. This is Quran, Surah Baqarah 256. This is the ayah that comes after Ayatul Kursi. SubhanAllah. There's Ayatul Kursi, and we know what Ayatul Kursi is, right? Ayatul Kursi is like, it tells you who Allah is, right? La ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum. He's always living. Al-Qayyum is always the sustaining, like he sustains us, right? And he sustains himself and he sustains us, his creation, the heavens and the earth and everything in between it. He's the one who's holding it, right? Qayyum means everything is dependent on him. Hayyul Qayyum, la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm. Like neither slumber nor sleep takes him over. Right? This is really and very important to reflect on Ayatul Kursi. So la ilaha illallah wa la ilaha qayyum la ta'khudhuhu sinatun wa la nawm lahu ma fis samawati wal ard wa ma fil ard wa la ya'uduhu hifdhuhuma wa huwa al-'aliyyul azim. Right? Okay. Continue the ayah. Hifdhuhuma wa huwa al-'aliyyul azim. تأخذ سنة ولا نوم هذا الذي يشعر بالشيء Right. So this, this part of وَسِعَ كُرْسِيُّهُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ means, the kursi. The kursi is the footstool, right? Just the footstool. It's not, we are not talking about his throne. You're not talking about his throne. Because Allah Subhanahu throne Allah is above the throne. And even the heavens, just all these 7 heavens, one heaven compared to the next one is like a ring in the desert. If you want to see how big is the second heaven is bigger than like a desert in the like a ring in the desert compared to the first one. The third one is bigger than compared to the second one is like a ring in the desert. So imagine. And after that, after these 7 heavens is the kursi, the throne, and above Allah Subhanahu doesn't either. Does he sit on the throne? No, he doesn't. Because he doesn't, Allah Subhanahu never say that he sits on the throne, right? So, even this soul is bigger, all these 7 events that I just talked about, they all fit into the stool. Wasiya is so, Wasiya Kursi, his just Kursi is so big that all these 7 heavens and the earth will all fit. That's understood. And now Allah SWT says, after Ayatul Kursi, okay, right? La ikraha fi din. La ikraha fi din. There's no compulsion in the name. No one, Allah will not compel you to be a Muslim. Because the straight path and the crooked path has been made clear. Through the prophets, through the books. Allah has never left people alone without giving their prophets in the books, right? So it has been it has been made very clear. So there's no compulsion, it's your choice. Right? لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي فمن يكفر بالطاغوت ويؤمن بالله فقد استمسك بالعروة الوثقى. The one who has rejected all these worldly attachments that she just talked about, attachments of relationships, attachments of maybe I'll get happiness, expectations. I'm going to get happiness from my husband. My husband is going to keep me happy. This relationship is going to keep me happy. My friends are going to keep me happy. All these worldly things. I'm going to buy. That's going to keep me happy. All these things are all kind of taboo. We are trying to find happiness through that, as if like we are worshipping them. So it is like, if you get rid of all that, but if you have your anchor with Allah, then you are having the strongest goal. Allah Subhanahu said, it is a goal that you're holding on to, which will never break. That's the translation of the land. It will never break if you hold on to that. And that goal is, Allah Subhanahu saying, and mostly like the scholars say, that's the Quran. When you hold on to the Quran, like you are holding it, and the other side is the rope of Allah, and this the other side is Allah's hand. Can it ever break? Just like you are depending on the twig, just like you are setting yourself up by putting everything on the edge? No. So really, our soul was meant to be related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created our soul is, our body is dependent upon this world, right? It needs the food, it needs the nutrition, the nourishment. But the soul, food, is the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, the food. That it can never survive without that. We have seen that, right? If you see, look at the disappointments. We get disappointments, right? When we are too attached to this world, and sometimes like sometimes also when we lose our loved ones, sometimes the way we get into depression and all that is because we don't have enough hold of that hope of Allah. Because those tests are not supposed to break you. Those tests that Allah is giving is testing you. He has kept these for you to become strong, to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get rid of the other attachments, to make you go closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So all these tests are meant to have the dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are the lessons that Allah teaches us. That, so why do we have that? The ayah from Surah Baqarah, where we say that, Inna lanabluwannakum bishay'in min al-khawfi wal-ju'i wal-amwal wal-thamarat, right? We are going to surely, definitely, no doubt, we are going to test you by the loss of, the wealth, and the loss of fruits, the loss of people, right? But the one who says, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, you will say, in spite of losing those things, you're losing your wealth. You put the crop, you were expecting the crop, right? But it all died. You lost your wealth, you lost your dear one. All this, Allah says, if you know that this is from Allah and that I'm going to return to Allah, because whatever you lost belonged to Allah anyway. And even I belong to Allah, right? All that was a gift that was given to me, and it is going to be taken away. So then Allah says, Bashir Sabir. So if you have the patience, give the good news. We are stuck, we are thinking like we are just the end of this world, we are broken. All that. But Allah is saying, it's good news for you. Allah, like you are in tears, Lord. You don't know what to do. It's just like the world has come to an end. The heavens have fallen on you. And Allah is saying, good news. Why? Because you don't need anything, because all those attachments were wrong. They feel that you cannot be attached to anything other than the Allah's word. And I tell you something which I learned from this book, just a few pages that I read. All the asbab that Allah gives, the asbab mean the tools, right? Like parents, like the husband, like a job, like whatever it is, these are the asbab are chosen by Allah. They are asbab chosen by Allah. So if they are just chosen by Allah, you are not choosing them. Allah is choosing them to to maneuver things. So you're going to depend on Allah, right? Not on those things. Because Allah is choosing, you're not choosing. This was really a big reality for me. SubhanAllah, I'm not choosing any of those asbab. Allah is choosing. Because they are just tools. But the real strength is from Allah. Because nobody can change, it can give you anything, right? No one can give you peace of mind. No one can give you happiness. No one can give you joy other than Allah. So you cannot, actually, I wanted to say one more, I got from this experience. I go through all this, yeah, isn't it? SubhanAllah. You all know that, right? SubhanAllah, our ninth daughter, she passed away recently from cancer. Yeah, cancer. And I said, we don't very SubhanAllah. And we relate, we learned all that. Actually, Allah SWT has taught us these things. When we were young, we were getting attacked, but we have to check your hearts. Where is it? That's why she said, reclaim your heart. Where is it? Is it lost in this dunya? In the attachments? Where is it? Let's find our heart. SubhanAllah. And sometimes, like nowadays when girls and the boys get married, they have demons, right? Oh, my spouse is gonna keep me happy. My spouse is, this person. I hope my husband is gonna keep me happy. First of all, you have to say, that hopefully I will, do like instead of expecting from him, you should be like, Inshallah, I will be a good wife. Instead of thinking, oh, is he going to be a good husband? First, we have to think of ourselves to be good, right? Think of giving rather than taking. When I got married, and this was 39 years ago. So the director of where I was doing my PhD, so he was the director, and that was a central government institute, and he was the director of like 5,000 people, a very well acclaimed person, and he was married to a physician and he had teenagers. So I went to his house to invite him with my brother. And so I had a job, a regular, permanent job, but I was leaving, quitting my job. So I went to him, to give the invitation. So he said, so you're leaving? He said, so I said, I'm leaving for good. Good in the sense that I'm expecting good things out of, better things. And then he said, the one thing that really stayed with me, like it was the written in stone for me. Because, my father passed away when I was like 5. So I didn't have a father figure. But he was like a father figure to me. And imagine a person with that much wisdom, telling me something. He said, and I was going to America, right? Imagine from India. So he told me, first, they used to call me Sultana. Sultana, you first establish yourself as a wife. First establish, and that, I took it as written in stone, like I said. So, imagine he's telling me not to expect anything from him, but you have to establish yourself as a wife means you give your best. Because he knew I was going to America to have a better career, because, that was my dream. Well, I'm going to be a postdoctoral fellow and I'm going to publish papers. He knew all that. So, but he's like, you don't get, caught up with that. If your husband, your duty is first to establish yourself as a wife. You see? So I did that. So, I was like, I never thought of any career, nothing. I'm like morning, I'm making breakfast and tea, everything, and ironing his shirts and all those things. That was
No, it is not that cute. Now they're ironing our shirts.
Yeah. But do they do it
Lovingly.
no, but do they do it? No, now they do it, but did they do it as soon as you got married? They do it?
No, of course not.
No, yeah, you see that works. So after I did that, like he was, when they met,
Impressed.
yeah, impressed, and no, really, it was like so, because they want to study you, right? Because he doesn't know me at all, so he's trying to see what kind of a person I am, right? And so I'm doing it sincerely. It's not like I'm even pastor or, like I'm just trying to, no, but then it was sincere. So Allah SWT melted that part. And after that, it was like, now, like you said, please.
And I feel like, in this day and age, people are so reluctant to get married.
Yeah.
But when you do get married, it is very beautiful because it's a give and take, it's a compromise, and you learn from one another. And so if you're always going into it with a pretend and negativity, then it will be negative. But if you go into it wanting to love the other person, and they see that, and it's constant communication. It's not, marriage is not easy because you're with another person for the rest of your life, but it's how do you mold yourself? How does he mold himself into that?
Yeah.
But then you realize that this person is not going to give you ultimate happiness. It is Allah, and even your children. I have 4 children, alhamdulillah. And I always put my heart and soul into my children when I'm giving. And now they're adults, and it's very difficult for me to let it go and allow them to make their mistakes and grow up and do things that I personally would not agree with, what they're doing. But at some point, you have to release them and give them to Allah and say, you know what? I give them to you. I have given my best. And now you take care of my children, you take care of me, my husband, all of them. And I feel like it's the soul that is then at rest. And that's the ultimate stage. And I think I'm just noticing like a little experience of it because my child is very difficult. And I have 4 adult children. So, they test you at every single level. So at some point I said, Allah, I give it to you. I gave 20 years of my life raising, my daughter's now 30 months. But I really, when I had to separate myself and say they do belong to you, you will take care of them. And Allah says, you'll be okay. I have you. And it's interesting, I was on the Bay Bridge going, and I had this deep feeling in my heart. How, because you worry about your children all the time. And I looked up on the Bay Bridge and there was this gorgeous rainbow, just a beautiful rainbow. And it gave me so much solace. I know we're here. You're as close to us as our jugular vein, as he said. But we have to open our heart. If you close your heart to everything in participants, then it will be that. But you have to open up and allow Allah, the beauty that Allah has for you. Things are not be good all the time. So I feel like he strengthens us through the hardships. So we all go through difficulties. But I feel like when you go back and you look at that, thank goodness I went through that because now I'm a stronger human being and I can help another person who's going through that loss. And so I look at life that way, is that as I go, I am a little bit stronger, I'm a little bit stronger. And it's just a journey. It's a constant journey.
Not a moons and in any ways. Life is a journey. Yeah. So, okay, well, mashallah, we still have time. Like, I was just looking. Yeah. So, anybody else wants to comment and so far? So how do you feel? And are we in a good? This is a good thing that we are doing, right? All these reflections and what do you think, guys? Speak up, please. Okay. Yeah,
I think these pauses for people to share their experiences is helpful because that's their needed for a lot of people.
yeah.
And women in the context of, our need, our tools of law gave us.
Yeah.
I think that's especially in society as women we have a lot of
Because and they said it's not just the marital relationship, any relationship, in any situation, we're supposed to approach it with our best and not expect the person to like carry the weight of all of them.
Yeah, so how do you know if your attachment to someone or something is really like, I don't know, bad? Because, there's good kinds of attachment, right? There's a normal kind that you feel for your mother, your father, your siblings, your family, that kind of thing. So is that still considered bad to be attached to them?
Yeah. I'll be going along with see. But what it is, you know, like I said, God chooses us those needs, right? Like the parents or the spouse, like the children and the wealth, what have you. It is meant to navigate or life through it, but not attached to the extent that that it can break you. You see, because the only attachment that will never break is the attachment of person. Not even the prophet, not even the prophets are saying, right? But the human being, he has passed away, can do it, right? We follow his example, but you know, because some people even, you know, they sometimes ask they're asking the prophet, oh prophet, you know, give us this, give us that. So the only thing that is not going to change, that is constant, is Allah's your relationship with Allah. Because He is Allah is not Allah is not going to break His promise. Allah is not going to let you down. Allah is not whatever comes from Allah is khair. You may think that it is bad, right? Because there's an ayah in the Quran which says that maybe you hate something, but it is good for you. Maybe you love something, but it is not good for you, right? So only Allah, because also He's unknown. We don't know. So even your parents don't know what is good for your when it comes to the future. So even because no, this life of this world is not God. Even human beings are not God. Even parents are not God. Are they? No. Even the prophets are not God. Right? There's only the daraja. They are masum. They don't do sins. But they are not, you know, the only place of perfection is Jannah. So if you call this place, if you want this place to be perfect, then you are in trouble, right? Because if you have a relationship, yes, we have with the parents, right? And it's free, you know, that Allah has given us that love in us. Without Allah, we would not have love our parents, right? It's Allah who puts the parents. Allah has put the mercy in the mother's home. How much what she does, you know, but she will die for you, right? But all those things Allah has given us, but all of that can change. Right? One day everyone has to go. You're gonna lose your parents. And your parents they'll get sick. They're, you know, like all these things. And sometimes there are mistakes, right? So, but suppose if you consider your parents as the ultimate, like, like you're putting all your hope and everything in your parents, you will be disappointed. Because that's never permanent, and they can make mistakes, and they cannot. If you're hoping they will help you, they cannot help you, right?
They can't help you like Allah can, right?
Except Allah, right? If they are helping, it's through Allah, right? Because some people, you know, like when a mother passes away, you know, like say they're small children and she passes away, right? Then people are like, oh, now who's going to take care of the kids? Oh, you know, I have heard this. And also, you know what, sometimes they call me Najam you know, Najam you know, like a mother should never die. A mother, but then, so did Allah make a mistake? Did Allah make a, you know, like, so he did rule on that child, even if it's a newborn, even if it's a newborn. Say she died on the child, right? So can we say this should not have happened? This is wrong. You know, so Allah did harm, so Allah did rule. No, Allah doesn't do that, right? Allah, no matter what he does, even if he, like he can bring a king into a pauper, right? And he can humiliate people, right? There can be humiliation. And he can bring people, raise people's ranks. The one who was the king can become, if he becomes, take away his kingdom, it's a humiliation for him. But then Allah immediately says, but in my hand there is khayr. So even if he became, lost his kingdom, there's khayr, right? So what it means is, so you cannot depend on anybody. You can't put your hope and your heart and soul into anyone except Allah.
But that doesn't mean you don't love people, right? It doesn't mean you would still love your parents, you would still love your children, you would still love even your enemy because the creator made that person. So yes, it's painful when they die or the relationship breaks, but through that break and that suffering, you're going to get closer to God. So that's your key. Like, I really feel like the suffering people here in this room, I'm sure, have lived through war, divorce, loss of children, loss of parents. Each one of those, and this life is unfortunate. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, it's like hikmah of Allah. We're here to have these experiences to worship Him. That's our purpose in life, is to worship God. And when these things happen, it doesn't mean like when she first got married and the way she established herself as a wife, she did her chores with love for her husband and with love for God, ultimately, because every bit of service we do is for Allah, inshallah, like with that niyat. And then he felt the love and his heart opened to her, right? And so when she's saying, don't depend on anyone except Allah, it's true, but it doesn't mean don't give your heart. It means do it with love, do everything with love, because to love the creator means to love his creation, even flawed, and then that goes back to yourself as well. Like if you love someone who's flawed, it means you can love those flaws in yourself. So it's like a
good points. One thing I wanted to say was, when Vish mentioned about we were created to worship. This I want to really make it clear, and I want to go a little deep into it because even the heavens and the earth, they worship Allah. Because Allah said everything, every single thing makes such that. The plants, the heaven, the earth, everything makes such that, right? So now, so how are we different? When we say to worship, like you said, I created the jinn and the insan to worship me. What does that mean? We have to really understand this. Because if all the non-living things and everything is worshiping Allah, so how is it different? So even Malaika are worship. So how are we different? We have to know this. So but because the word worship is so shallow that it does not give you a deep meaning. But when you take the meaning in Arabic, worship means, like illa liya'budun, there is the word abd, means slave. Slave. That's different than other creation. Because Allah said in that ayah only ins and jinn, because we have the intellect. Others don't have. Others don't have consequences. Others don't have right. Nothing will stand before Allah and be judged except the jinn and the human. So we are different. We are superior in creation. So this Ya'bud, we have to remember that we are slaves of Allah. Now that also I want to make it into perspective. Who we are? It's in an ayah. It's a beautiful ayah. It's a very, very well-known ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, to understand who we are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Malaika, إِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. So what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? He said, remember, when I said to the Malaika that I'm creating a Khalifa on earth. He said to the Malaika, I'm creating a Khalifa. So now we have to understand what's a Khalifa, right? So, Khalifa, so he was going to create Adam alayhi salam, right? Now, uh, other than all that conversation that was there, it's a beautiful conversation, it's very important. When you go home, like whenever you get a chance, open the Quran and read that whole page of the conversation between the Malaika and Allah subhanahu. What happens? How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proves to the Malaika, how, because they say, the Malaika say, Ya Allah, are you going to create the Khalifa, who are going to do bloodshed? Because they knew, because I believe there were jinn before who did the bloodshed, not the human beings, they were not created, but they had done bloodshed, so they knew. The Malaika knew. So are you going to create, these human beings who are going to create bloodshed and all this, these evil people you're going to create, whereas we are there for you to glorify you and to sanctify you. So why are you creating them? Not like the Malaika Rasa. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inni a'lamu ma la ta'lamun. You don't know what I know. Right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proves it by creating Adam alayhi salam, and he tells them, Allah tells them, he teaches Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches to Adam alayhi salam all the names, of, the nouns. And he says, is kulna li Adam, amdeuni bi asma'i hawban. So when he gives those names, that intellect, that which is not given to the Malaika, right? And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then he also, the Adam alayhi salam, like he knows every noun in the whole world. And then also he knows their names, the names of the Malaika. The Malaika are like millions and countless, but he knows their names. So Allah tells, did I tell you? I know. So then, they say, Ya Allah, forgive us, we know, we don't know. What they say, La na'lamu illa, La ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana, right? Innaka anta al-alimul hakim. We don't know anything unless what you have taught us. You are the most, the knowledgeable, the most wise. So they say. So Allah teaches them that don't think that they only do bloodshed. They have intellect. They can, they can seek knowledge, and they will know what is right and wrong. You see? Okay. So now coming back to the Khalifa. Khalifa means, it's not the Khalifa of like, now there's a Khalifa, like the Khilafah of before we had the Khilafah of Harun Rashid and all that. No. Allah is saying here, the definition is ambassador. Allah said, I'm going to send an ambassador to the dunya. Each one of us are ambassador. So what's the definition of an ambassador? An ambassador is someone, right, who is sent by the head, or the one who is authority, right, has the authority, will send an ambassador to the dunya, like here's the dunya, right? Like ambassador sent to another country. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sending Bani Adam to the dunya to teach his deen, to establish his deen in the dunya. So we are the ones who are establishing the religion on the sun, right? If you look at this world, what is it? What is it, right? Allah sent messengers, and then the books, and then we follow the book, we follow the prophet even before, right? Whether it is Musa, whether it is Christianity, whether it is Noah alayhi salam, everyone. Some people followed the prophet, some did not. right? Always, it happened. Even now, some follow Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, some don't. So who follow are the ambassadors. Who don't follow are not the ambassadors, and they will have consequences. You see, so our main purpose is to establish the deen. Right? And Allah said, there will always be a group of people among, us who will always establish the deen. This world will never be without the ambassador. But Allah chooses. But we are sons. You see, so now it's so clear, right? So if we are here to exactly follow what Allah said, establish the deen, so then how can our attachment be better? Because this dunya is temporary, it's not perfect, it's full of tests. So our purpose is only to be slave to Allah as an ambassador and share and like raise our children, with the deen and teach others. And it's all about giving reminders. That's all we are doing. So subhanallah, isn't that like, a beautiful, beautiful purpose of life? Subhanallah. That's why the soul will never be at rest, will never be at peace without relationship. Go ahead. Yeah. Yes. I think I'm so glad these discussions are, like we have learned, and really, like, I want to see what else she has to say,
Yeah.
SubhanAllah, she's giving us so much, just by that, like 1 or 2 pages to reflect. Right? Yeah.
And I do believe that Allah, the Quran is the tool and the guide for us on how do we live our life. So each of us has the ability to get closer to Allah, because He said, you can rise to the level of the martyrs, the righteous, the Nabi, the Rasul. And so I feel like that is our journey, is He's given us prayer, because as humans, that's where we find peace. And it's not for Him. He doesn't need our prayers. We need the Creator for our peace. And so when I think about it in the terms that, He's given us 5 times a day, and we always struggle. Oh, I can't do my prayers. But He's allowed us the beauty to stop our materialistic life, stop what you're doing, come to me so you can recharge, pray to me. And now science is finding out very explicitly how powerful meditation and prayer is. And they're saying you should do it several times a day. So for me, I say, Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim, because I was taught that. And Allah knows His creation, and He knows that this human needs time to meditate. It needs time to pray. It needs all of that. So it's not just we're slaves to Allah and we just have to be slaves. It's really a beautiful thing that, He has given you a gift, and He's given you all of the wonderful things on how to live a good life. And if you choose to come to Him in the way that He asks you to, you will see that His beauty and His glory all around you manifesting, so that no longer do you really, your children are there, your husband is there, but that is not ultimately where you're going to find your peace. Your peace is within yourself, where Allah lives inside of you, and how you show yourself to other people. And you're okay. If something happens, God forbid, to children or whatever, and this is how I feel like even in Palestine, Gaza, I look at these people like, how are they surviving? How are they surviving with so many atrocities happening? And yet you look at them and they're praying together and they're loving each other and they're helping each other. And that's where Allah says, I have given you this. You can rise to the highest of the highest levels, or you can sink to the lowest of the low. And we see in humanity where people are going.
And so for us, it's this struggle, this internal jihad of letting go of some of those bad feelings that we have and moving towards the path that Allah tells us is to help your brothers, help your sisters, even your enemies, pray for them. You know, not, oh, we need to kill them, we need to slaughter. No, no, no. You know, and that's the beauty of Islam, is to bring them towards that. So I really have felt peace with just understanding that finally, where it's not, you know, Allah doesn't need my prayers. I need Allah. I desperately need that. And He gives me the way to do it. So I just wanted to add that's helped me.
I will share it. So now, like I said, ambassadors, right? So now, how do we live? How can I be ambassador? By following the Prophet. Because he's a messenger, right? And he showed us. Because Allah said that, you know, in the Prophet, you have the best example. And he came to it's the character that matters at the end of the day, right? It's nothing else but our behavior, right? So now I will tell you a story to put everything in perspective. You know how it's very important. You know, like we are learning this, but how do we navigate? Through the Prophet's life, how we behave in this situation, that situation. Okay, really, this it's a beautiful story that you know, like when was in Medina, and all the battles were won. You know, there was the Badr happened, the Uhud happened, the trench happened, and then after trench, you know, there was the Jewish people were, you know, their treachery happened. So then they went to Khaybar, and Khaybar was a very tough man. Even Khaybar they conquered. All these, you know, they were conquered, right? Now, but they were after Khaybar, they were allowed to stay in Khaybar, you know, the Jewish people. So what happens? Now they are all living together. You know, the Prophet Sallallahu and all the Sahaba and there is people in Khaybar also. One day, one Jewish lady, what she does, she asks, you know, like I want to send a nice meal to the Prophet. She's not saying prophet, you know, but because she's not a believer. She's Jewish, but she's not a believer. I want to send it to Muhammad, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And she asked, what is the part of the goat that he likes the most? And then they told that he loves the shoulder. And then she fills the shoulder with poison. She's put everything. And the other parts is also poison. And then it's brought to him, and nobody suspected it. And Rasul Sallallahu, nobody suspected it, right? And then Rasul Sallallahu, one Sahabi, he eats it. And then Rasul Sallallahu also eats. And the Jibreel comes and he tells him that it's poison. And then he spits it out. But it did have an effect on him for 7 months. That imagine to come out of the poisons, it can those days because you know you don't have all this you know where you can put an IV and you know do all that. So that effect was there. So but the Sahabi he passed away because of the poison. Now like Rasul Sallallahu is told that some lady had done this poisoning, so he sent birds, bring that lady, go and get her, and she comes to Prophet Sallallahu and he asks her, did you poison? She says yes. And you know what, subhanallah, look at this is, you know, like this will put in perspective what is our role and how do we live in this world as ambassadors is what you know it is how we behave with them. You know, so if that lady is brought to, for example, us, for example, if Nitin Yahu is brought to us, what are we gonna do? Like, okay, like he's a mother, the criminal. And even now, we might be like, may Allah, like curse and right? Yeah, punish and all that, right? So now she has put poison and he almost died. And he has no hatred for her. You know what he wants? Because we are here to make people submit to Allah, right? Because this is a gift that is given to us. Islam is a gift. Quran is a gift for us. And Quran is for everyone, right? And we are supposed to share that gift with them. Because the ultimate the goal in life is to submit to Allah, right? And that is Islam, right? And the Quran teaches us that. So Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam tells us, isn't it time that you become Muslim? He's not, he's not angry. He doesn't want her to punish her. He doesn't care, but he's worried about her future, her end. He does not want her to end up in hell. And he says, now you came to know that, what did she come to know? That her plan failed because of Allah, because Allah was watching. Because, she knows that now. And she could not kill the father. So if you are realizing that it's not in your hands, so there is someone higher, a power, if you realize that, so aren't you going to submit? SubhanAllah. You see,
she became Muslim.
I think so. I'm not sure.
She was saying, if you were a true prophet, I wanted to test you to see if you were a true prophet. I think there was something that she wanted to know the truth of his prophethood. And she poisoned the meat. And then he said, why did you do it? She said, because I wanted to see the truth of your prophecy, prophet. So I was looking up some of this. Susanna confessed to the poisoning, stating her motivation was to test if Muhammad was a prophet, in which case the poison wouldn't harm, or a king, in which case they would be rid of him, or as revenge for the deaths of her family members. So there is a
No, I'm asking it. Like I need the reference.
I don't have to look back at it.
Yeah, because sometimes because it's from Israelis. Because the Israelis have their own stories.
Yeah, but this is a very old story. I remember when I was young as a little girl, and I remember that part of it. So I
remember from there.
Oh, it was just from the Muslim, from the literature of the Muslim. It wasn't from Israel and like that. But I do remember, and I believe she did accept Islam at the end.
Maybe. Yeah. So this is something that I will answer because I will. Because there's sources authentic sources where I can go.
They said there's conflicting accounts.
Yeah,
regarding this. There are conflicting accounts.
Yes. So, but then I can go to what our scholars are saying. Like I can get the authentic story because there are websites which I know are like will give me the at least the best of what they have. Yeah. So, but whatever,
The point being that it's
point.
like, look at his love.
Yeah,
Look at his
exactly.
love.
Right, on the hasty.
The-
He wanted to ask, why did you do it? It wasn't like, how dare you do this? It's, what was your motive?
And we have understood that it's not going to work. So then isn't it time? You have prayed for me, and so now the power of Allah. Then why don't you submit to Allah? SubhanAllah. You see, I think it's such a bigger purpose we should have, right? In our lives, like people make mistakes, so we should be like thinking of like we should forgive so that they see in us a bigger purpose. Like they should be like, oh, she can forgive me. So I'm being so like I was so not open-minded, and I was thinking I was so petty, but look at the big heartedness. So they will realize their mistake and they will open up, right? because always, Islam spread because of the character, right? Character of the Prophet, the Sahaba, and how they spread everything for business, and they saw how honest they were in their businesses. And so that's how Islam spread. So we are also here, right? Because there's no more prophet coming. There's no other book. So this is the book that Allah has promised that it's never going to change until the day of judgment. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, I'm choosing some people to be there who will always spread the word, and we want to be one of them. We want to be one of them. Who's going to be always on the straight path, right? Who will be the ambassadors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until the last breath. So this is the thing, so now we have to think of refining our character, how we behave, how we are going to forgive people, how we are going to let go, right? And then again, coming back to the book of not holding on to the grudges, holding on to those weak relationships, and just investing in the dunya of and making yourself like tired of it. It will break you. You're going to be lost. So this is what it is now. We have to strengthen our relationship with Allah and all these things, right?
And I do feel like, we're living in a time period where, alhamdulillah, Allah, it's a miracle of what we are seeing right now is the turning of the tide. Because when I was growing up, there was nothing about anything against Israel that you cannot. And so now I feel like the tide is turning. Muslims and the character people are very interested in Islam. They really are searching and wanting to understand. And I feel like we are all ambassadors, women, men, children, to go out and represent within our circle what is Islam. So for me, I have very good Jewish friends and Christian friends and Muslim friends, and I don't go around belittling them. I mean, obviously the things that have occurred are horrifying, but for us, this is our opportunity to show to our friends that we're Muslim and we're good people and we are here to help everybody. So I feel it's a very unique and beautiful time period that we are going through, and so many opportunities to talk about how is Islam, because we're all immediately called, terrorists and oh my God. And so that is now starting to change. And the youth in this country, I feel, are going to be the future of not just Muslims advocating, but I feel like people within this country are realizing, and they're also our ambassadors, because I'm amazed to see so many non-Muslims who are stepping up to advocate and be the ambassadors that we desperately needed for so long.
Maybe message has not gone to them, and we don't judge. Maybe their hearts are still looking for truth, or and alhamdulillah. Any more comments? So what we'll do is so we are on page let's see, where we saw. Okay, I can proceed.
Yeah, after that, this is Surah Baqarah, that 256 ayah.
Do you want to assign certain pages maybe by the next time?
Yeah.
We're on page.
So we are on page 20. So because we just read 2 pages.
Yeah, we are up to this, this.
Exactly. Yeah, that one. Yes. So then now let's see how many more pages are there for this. So let's finish this chapter, but not.
No.
No. We are done. So all of us will read that.
Up to what page?
Up to the next chapter, which is, it will end 24. So you have to read from 20 to 24. Read 20 to 24, which is just about 150,
Since 250 pages is the whole book.
Yeah.
So is it by chapter? How long is each?
33, page number, up to page number 33.
We're gonna be on.
33, PDF from PDF. The next is the on this.
Yeah, okay, but then, you know what? No, 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 no.
Like, I don't.
Yeah, we have chapters, we have chapters.
So how
Okay,
long?
so the next chapter is people leave, but they return. So we are gonna read that chapter too at home.
Okay, so what page is that on? Oh, the next chapter is love?
So
Is that,
25.
because I see here love, or is that the next chapter?
And the next chapter is called people leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
We're gonna finish moving that.
No.
Or no?
33.
Just say first this current chapter.
Okay.
So read all the way from 20 to 29. We see on filling the inner role and coming home, that we can do it later on. But
we read at home, then let's discuss that here.
yeah,
Because it's what so more like an open dialogue, where maybe if you come up with some questions that you could ask us, and we can have some more open book type of thing.
Yeah.
So, because that I think will generate more conversation.
Yes, we're reading it.
That's right.
So that's what we are doing, right? So I'm going to read this.
Right, read
You're telling them.
I'm just looking at this. I see love.
Yeah.
So cool.
Oh, the love is coming back to page 51. Love is on page 51.
We get it's all done. No. Between now, here's what my thought is between now and next month. Or there's a month to be done. So why don't you read all the job? If you can just maybe generate a few questions and open it to us. No wonder that much. There's so much.
No, it's so nice here to read and to discuss. It is so nice. Right, Sarah's mom? That's Sarah, I don't remember your mom's name, so Sarah's mom.
Oh,
33. No, too much, it's too much. So am I going to now start this and the meeting? What? Every month, once a month.
Okay, that's your opinion. Let's keep, but then I want to know the majority. So how many, no, you guys tell me until what page you want to read.
I think it would be nice to read a little less, because look at how much discussion we had off of just a couple pages. And even if it takes a couple years, like some of the books we study here, it takes a couple years.
Yeah, we do that.
It's not the point to finish the books, the point is to get the message.
yes. So what page do you think?
Sisters, you have to tell me. Yeah, go ahead, please. I want everybody to speak.
But we are running short because the men, the brothers are waiting outside. So it's not fair. They will let us out.
I just think that it's like, it's better to success. I think for now, we can sure realize that it's not enough. We need more in the future, but we should start small and accomplish small goals before we try to take a leap.
We want to talk about, I don't know how we chapters that is, one chapter later, okay.
Then we can do looking at it, I don't even, are these chapters? Is that considered a chapter? Okay.
Okay,
Heavy about the chapter.
let's see. These
You get the set of jobs.
no, so it's same.
You guys can just get how much.
Visuals have a template concept.
Yeah.
It's just more kind of everybody be on the same page, right? So that we all discuss. So I think we need to have a landmark.
How much would they say? As an indicator, like how much did we get through today? Maybe that's.
Just the pages, but we were maybe talk a lot. But I think we can start with page 44. If you like, because that's not a lot. For page Page 44 is not allowed.
Okay, which one?
Page 44.
So there's larger topics and there's small topics within that larger topic.
Sister Najam, you want to make dua? Because I want to this end the meeting. All right, sisters, thank you very much. See you inshallah next time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but then everybody's leaving. Okay. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Very much. Rahima, can you call iftar is out?